that.
Welcome, everybody, to the Grizzled Geek Podcast, episode 63. I'm Mike.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Doug.
And we're here with you on your Friday night out here in Phoenix. We are your premier nerd podcast on a Friday night. And why is that, folks? I have a bit of a story. Before we get started, guys, I got a little story to tell you. You guys weren't there, but you know our secret underground Arizona Geek Podcast Fight Club that we go to every week? Mm-hmm. I know you guys missed this week.
No. What?
Oh, yeah, we don't talk about that, but that thing we go to. Well, we decided at that meeting that Friday nights wasn't big enough for two epic geek podcasts, right? So it came down to a thumb wrestling match between us and our brother from another podcast, the Absolute Geek Podcast. Unfortunately for them, Kyle couldn't make it that night. Corbin was off doing his dodgeball league stuff that he does, and it was left to Matt to defend their honor. And while Matt's a strapping dude, don't get me wrong, Matt's a strapping guy. He's got broad shoulders, lumberjack-like arms, but unfortunately for him, his one weakness is his tiny little thumbs. So it was still an epic match. It went all 3 rounds, but in the end, we were victorious. They were forced to move to Saturdays, and now we have Friday nights to ourselves, guys. The premier Arizona Geek Podcast.
And what are we going to do with this power?
What?
Nothing different.
We're going to flaunt it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to brag about it. But yeah, welcome, guys. I want to say, last week we shouted out our 15 dudes in Belgium that are watching us here, and for some reason it was the first time in 6 episodes that only 13 of them watched that episode. So we actually give them a shout out. There's only 13 of them in Belgium that watched it. So tell your friends, guys. I gave you a shout out.
13 of those tried and true. 15, when they...
2 of you are no longer worthy.
2
no more shout out. We take it back.
You take it back. We have that power now. That
whoever you are.
We're number 1 in Fridays.
Yeah.
But yeah, the guys over at the Absolute Geek Podcast, they're still doing their thing, but they're going to be over on Saturday nights. They're joining Tales from the Flipside, which is a comic-based channel where they do have their own comic podcasts. It's a really great show, guys. So there's going to be a lot more epic comic news and information from them, so make sure to go check them out on Saturday nights. Tales from the Flipside, go subscribe over there and send them all the love. But Fridays is now ours. All right, guys. So, anything exciting happen with you guys?
Trying to learn how to play Warhammer on Tabletop Simulator.
How's that going?
Oh.
It's not as easy as you'd think. It's not easy at all.
It's not easy at all.
I have finally figured out how to download assets and save them as objects.
That's a good start. Start.
So we'll go from there. But I found a couple cool videos on it, so that's all right. Played a lot of Star Wars, The Old Republic.
Nice.
That's been fun.
Kirsten, what about you? What have you been up to?
I got some friends to start playing Final Fantasy 14, so that's awesome.
Nice.
And I've been watching Vikings. That's about it. Nothing crazy over here.
Watching Vikings. Nice. I've been working a lot this week, so I haven't really had a chance to do anything. Yeah, I know. I'm like, really, I haven't really done anything. I haven't even done my daily stuff for like Fallout 76 or anything like that, or any of just the basic stuff that I do normally. So I know I haven't done any painting. I haven't done painting in like 2 weeks. How strange is that? I even spent a crap load of money on giants. And
yeah, I do a lot more reading about 40K and fantasy than I do actually putting anything together. It's kind of disheartening when you're like, oh yeah, I've got all these cool models. I want to do something. I've got a cool idea for an army. And they're like, I'm not going to get to play this for a year, so why get started on models now?
Yeah. Now's the time to do it. You just got to motivate yourself. I was, during most of the lockdown, I was like dedicated. I painted every week, every day, right?
Yeah.
Just churning them out. And then now I have like a table full of painted miniatures that I'm looking at going, I'm not going to be doing anything with those for a while.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Sad. Sad is us. And our first world problems.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's want to jump into it. Talk about some
Do it.
some nerd stuff. Okay. All right, guys. 2020. Can this year get any worse? It's almost out of all the crazy stuff that's going on this year. One of the worst things is no Marvel. There's no Marvel this year. I want to take us back a little bit here and let's review what we've missed. What the year 2020 that would have been, right?
Do we have to? Do we have to?
Yeah. The ghost of
sadness.
2020 past, Marvel past. So by now we should have had Black Widow, right? Should have had Falcon in the Winter Soldier series. Should have had the Eternals movie, and we should have had Wandavision just starting out right about now, right? That's what we should have had. But instead, what we got is nothing. Nothing. Zero.
Fuck this.
Goose egg. No Marvel this year, guys. We were hoping for WandaVision, and there was some little bit of rumblings about it coming out this winter, but nope. We got the official release date on that. It's got pushed to January 15th, guys.
Which one?
WandaVision.
Sorry. Oh, WandaVision. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we have Black Widow in May and Eternals in October. And May is kind of, they're saying that's like the first chance we're going to have at movies.
Well, yeah. Theoretically, we could all be vaccinated by April.
We could.
Yeah.
90% effective.
WandaVision was supposed to be Disney Plus, right? It was supposed to be a show.
Yep.
See, that's what shocks me. Like it's not like they're going to lose anything by
releasing
putting it out. Yeah.
Yep, it got pushed to January 15th, so I'm not sure
Is that
exactly.
because of some reshooting, or?
I don't know. It's been done.
It's actually probably so it doesn't. So it's after Mandalorian finishes.
Probably.
So there's something to keep you on the platform.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's basically it. That was a lot of not Marvel this year. So
yeah. It's the first year since the MCU started, right? That there's been
one
nothing.
year. There was 1 year. The first year after Iron Man and the Hulk, there was a year before Iron Man 2, and then it's been one every year for 10 years. So
okay,
and then
at least one, yeah,
at least one, usually multiple,
right?
And then next year, like I said, hopefully we get, we still don't have a release date for Falcon the Winter Soldier. We got WandaVision, and we've got.
Hopefully, it'll be shortly after Black Widow.
Yeah.
Because hey, if there's going to be something that's going to be spoiled, I'd rather it not. Go ahead and push it a little further to let Black Widow come out first. I'm fine with that.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stuff going with that. So, but we do have some Marvel news, some news stuff here. Even though we don't have any Marvel, we have some news about stuff that's coming out. We found out that WandaVision is getting its own Disney Galleria series.
Those are cool. Those are fun.
The Mandalorian
like
one
that.
is really good.
Yeah.
So we're going to be behind the scenes, and I'm very curious about that one for behind the scenes. As crazy it is, the first 3 episodes were shot in front of a live studio audience, but like back in the old sitcoms back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, it wasn't even. They didn't even do like the canned audience laughter or whatever. No, they actually had a live studio audience during filming.
Fun.
So that was crazy. So that's cool. I'm excited about that. We have a strange bit of news that may or may not be. Looks like we might be getting Sony SpiderMan movies on Disney Plus, right? Which is if that's the case, that is a big deal, behind the scenes deal, because we've speculated about this deal with Marvel and Sony, right? And they've been awful friendly since then, about what's going to happen and what's in the sharing. And this is a big share, guys. If Disney Plus gets the Sony SpiderMan movies. And the reason we know is because we had some footage from Homecoming, both Homecoming and Far From Home appeared in a Latin America promo for the launch of Disney Plus in the South down there. So as they're going through all the stuff, we saw images from that. Now, that could have been a mistake, but unlikely. Those promos and that are pretty, are put together pretty well. So,
yeah.
No official announcement, but I mean, those two movies were in a promo reel. So, what do you think? That's cool. What do you think? Yeah. What are your speculations?
Well, the question is, does Sony have access to another streaming platform that they could use?
No, but I bet if they put Far From Home and Homecoming up for bid, they would definitely get some hits on those.
Yeah, but why antagonize Disney when you could just make a deal there? Maybe you get a little bit less money, but you maintain that relationship.
Yeah,
it's possible. But then there's a lot of content that is geo-restricted. So it is entirely possible that Disney Plus in Latin America will get the Spider-Man movies, but in North America, it's going to be held up for something else, for some other deal. So I'm not necessarily going to hold my breath. But then again, I have a VPN, so I can just...
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, Sony and Soul Entertainment are joint venture in Crackle, which has been, not awesome. Also, very interesting, a top story that has been going on the last couple of days. Sony acquired a streaming service that's primarily Christian movies called PureFlix.
PureFlix.
Which is very interesting. A very interesting move. I don't really know what they're going to do with that, but maybe it's a move towards having streaming of their own or having a package to offer to someone.
There's a market there for that. I mean, I was surprised. I was watching some documentary about, and in it wasn't about this, but in it was mentioning the company that edits movies for Christians, right? Like takes out all the swear words or anything like that, and they make a crap load of money, right? Like I didn't think, I'm like, all right, this guy's going to edit movies.
Sure.
How big a market is that? And apparently, it is a pretty big market. So,
yeah, I don't know. Hopefully some of these studios are going to realize they need to start making nice to each other.
Yeah.
And, combine efforts, because HBO Max is proving that there is a limit to the number of streaming services people are going to invest in.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that here in a second, but if you're not the premium, if you're not Netflix, you're not Disney Plus, you're going to be way down the list. You're going to struggle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. So we'll see what happens there. But let's see what else we have for Marvel news. Loki production on season 1 is going to wrap in a few weeks.
Nice.
So
pretty excited about that.
Which is important since they've already announced production for
season 2.
Yeah. And we also have word that Doctor Doom will have a presence in an upcoming Disney Plus Marvel series. Now, that was very vague.
Where did this info come from? First off,
this is there's
like
no official announcement, but there is execs or there's it wasn't an official announcement, but it was someone from the studio saying I don't know, it was a slip, but he was saying like, yeah, you'll have so they were talking about Fantastic Four, and they're saying like, yeah, we're still working on how that's going to work out. There hasn't been any casting or anything like that, but some of that world's going to make an appearance. In fact, you'll feel Doctor Doom's presence in some of these upcoming Marvel series. Now, it was very vague. It was very kind of like his presence could mean anything from, just a mention of Latveria, his country of origin, or full appearance, right? But if I had to bet, I would say it's probably just like a mention.
Right.
Like they mentioned Latveria, like
Falcon
they
and
mentioned
the Winter Soldier makes the most sense. Is you
Yeah.
you make it a little aside, and when they're in
especially
Eastern
with the
Europe.
world hopping spy thing, right? If they're going to Madripoor, they're already mentioning Madripoor from X-Men, right?
Yeah.
They mentioned Latveria.
Would make sense.
It would make sense, yeah. It's kind of like how they reference Wakanda in Iron Man 2, right? Before they even... So, yeah. That's it. I had to guess. That was just them kind of... Meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Name dropping Falcon the Winter Soldier. Yeah, Charlie Tango, I agree. That's what that's probably going to be. It's like, oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't remember quite clearly, but isn't Scarlet Witch, isn't she involved with Doctor Doom in some level? Like, don't they pair up or something?
It's Magneto. She's
the daughter of.
She's the daughter of in comics, but I doubt they're going to do that here. They'll just.
But they did have a storyline where her people were, because she's kind of Romani origin, right? And there was some like Slavic countries near Latvia, so her people were in Doctor Doom's country or whatever, because it's all the same part of the world kind of thing. So there were comic tie-ins between them, right? But
so apparently in the new series, she has a romance with Doctor Doom. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. So new. Yeah. There you go.
Interesting.
Kind of makes sense given the origins, but we'll see. I don't know how far. I doubt it's going to be a romantic interest for in WandaVision, but it's probably just a mention in Falcon Winter Soldier. But yeah, all right, guys, that was my depressing news. No Marvel for 2020.
Fair of bad news, huh?
Yep. All right, Doug, tell us about something happy like DC.
Yeah. All right. So, some DC Entertainment news. While we don't have an official announcement yet, some Warner Studio executives met this week about Wonder Woman 1984, and two plans have come forward. One is they could move to next summer, or they could keep a Christmas Day release in theaters and then immediately move to HBO Max in early January. So maybe 2 weeks in the theaters and then on to HBO Max. And that would be in an effort to bolster HBO Max subs because they're way behind Netflix and Disney Plus.
That bothers me.
I think that would be a bad move.
For sure.
That'd be a big loss for them right there. I mean,
it would be a huge loss, and I'll tell you what, it's if it drove subscriptions to HBO Max, it would be temporary.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, there's enough stuff piled up in HBO Max now for me to go binge for a weekend or two and then cancel my subscription.
Unless they decided to do like from here until whenever Corona, everything has been lifted, they were to say we're going to do video on demand of all of the movies that would have come out normally.
Yeah. There's going to be a major shakeup in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think when things come back around, you're going to see studios tightening budgets and go, we're paying everybody less.
Yeah.
Theaters, you're getting a smaller cut for a smaller amount of time. We're going on to VOD sooner than we normally would. You're going to have to constrain all of these budgets. No more, $300 million movies. You're going to have to cut back on actor pay. Everything's going to be,
for sure.
Everything's going to be contracting in that.
I think it's going to be geared towards streaming, right?
I think
those
so
kind
too.
of budgets. Those kind of budgets to gear towards streaming stuff. So,
if you take Disney's stance, and if other studios follow the line where it's like you develop a project without knowing where it's going to be distributed, and then the studio decides later, all right, this is best for streaming, this is best for theater release, this is best for whatever.
Sure.
You then have to make everything with the constrained budgets of it going straight to a streaming service or video on demand.
Yeah.
Which Netflix has proven you can spend a deal of money on production, but not $200 million, $300 million.
Yeah.
Not for a 2-hour movie, maybe for an 8-episode, 8-hour series or something. But
you're going to see more stuff like The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian does film on a specialized soundstage, right? Mm-hmm. Which looks amazing. Basically, it's like a real engine, like a video game kind of thing, where they can move the background with the actors, kind of thing, and it looks amazing, right? As opposed to location shooting, right? We're not flying out to the Tunisian desert to. We want a desert scene. It's going to be digitally in a studio like that.
Yeah, that make cities like Vancouver and Atlanta and places like that host a lot of filming are going to maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
If you don't have big production facilities, well, we're not going to be shooting on location that much anymore.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Is this a desperation move, Doug? You think it's a desperation move putting it out on HBO Max because they're like, look at the numbers going, Disney and Netflix is killing us?
Maybe.
Because you figure, if you told me 5 years ago that HBO streaming service wouldn't work, or would be behind.
Game of Thrones at the
it's
time.
because you had all because it was it was stuff you had to watch, right?
They have not announced anything of that level to replace it yet. So until that happens, they don't. That's the problem. Is if you're gonna have a streaming service, you have to have something to anchor it. Disney has all of its Disney products and ongoing Disney and Marvels. That's Star
Wars, Marvel, Disney.
Yeah, that's their niche right there that they're going to be able to pull people in. Netflix has the shotgun effect. It's like you can get almost anything, and we're putting out tons of new stuff. Some of it may be for you, some of it may not, but you're going to find something here.
Yeah.
Everybody else is going to be struggling with, we don't have nearly as much content, it's not nearly as iconic, and we haven't announced anything ongoing.
Right.
You're like, HBO had Game of Thrones, which is huge.
Had Game of Thrones, it had House of Cards, it had...
but those were not... House of Cards was Netflix, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Was House of Cards Netflix? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
so
Netflix
they don't have any
HBO
franchises. They don't have a franchise that's going to be something like, we've got multiple properties in here that you're going to be able to milk for a long time, that people are excited about. Yeah.
They're trying with DC properties, but...
And hey, I would love it if they would do it, but the problem is when you're late to the party, everybody else has already allocated their money, and at some point people are going to be going, this is what I paid for cable. I'm not going back to that.
Yeah.
So
at some point, I feel like we're already at that point. I hear people complain all the time and talk about how they're not going to do this service or that service anymore, or
So if I had to guess, I mean, this is partly whoever's in charge of HBO Max freaking out, but I think it's studio execs worried they're not going to get a bonus.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting on millions in losses.
Yeah.
They're like, we got to cut that number down somehow. I want my bonus. So they make stupid decisions. Yeah. That is almost always the source of a stupid studio decision, is an executive worried about their bonus.
Yeah.
That was that was probably the main factor for why Justice League failed the way it did, was the way the studio execs cut that down. It has to be under this, under 2 hours. It has to be in on this time,
Which makes no sense, because many a franchise has proven that audiences who are invested in a product will sit through 2.5, 3 hours, even sometimes more. Lord of the Rings showed for the story that they really want. But
anyway. Troy Tango saying in the chat, he says, do more limited series. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I am, if they came out with some quality DC stuff, then I would be, hey, cool. That sounds great. But you're going to have to bring the price down.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel their best bet is to find a service that they can offer as a package to whatever they're doing. Kind of like Hulu, but it's included in Hulu's price, and like increase Hulu's price by however much to accommodate that.
not going to do that because they'd have to get in bed with Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's,
I think
who's
Disney-
with Disney? You get Disney Plus
Disney
and Hulu
owns
together.
like 60 or 70% of Hulu now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've got that. I've never even logged into ESPN Plus, but I have Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus for like $15 a month. So
Right.
why would I pay another $15 for? I don't know what is HBO Max going for.
So I think it's 15. I think it's 14 something.
Yeah.
'cause, I mean, Netflix is less than that.
Yeah.
For now.
For now,
They're
yeah.
the leader, yeah. But
The thing is, Netflix can milk us for more, right? Because like, what are you not going to have Netflix? It's like
I mean,
it's got the
I might.
advantage. Yeah, I mean, true, depending on what they do, but
Yeah.
they have so
I
much
was-
stuff.
I was on the verge of getting rid of it.
Mhm.
If Melissa weren't very attached to a lot of stuff that's on there, I would have gotten rid of Netflix already.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I watched something on Netflix because I was like, oh, I need to see this versus, Melissa's going, hey, there's this new thing that we want. Let's watch this. So
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that I like watch anymore is like I'm bored. I pull up Netflix, look at the titles. None of them look interesting. Put one on, watch it, and then be disappointed. That I wasted my time.
Yeah. I wait for the rave reviews because I've been burned by too many Netflix shows. Going, Stranger Things is amazing. I'm going to check out the OA. Oh,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god! Never use their suggested. If you like this, you'll like this. No,
Yeah.
those are wrong. Wrong.
I've heard that Queen's Gambit is really good. That's the one that everyone's been talking about. But
No.
I tried Trixie Mattel, her documentary, and I love drag queens and I love that culture and I love learning about that. But that documentary was so terribly done. Waste of time. Anywho,
Waste of time.
I did want to say just a final note on that. It pisses me off that they're trying to get people into the movie theater still. Like, it just seems negligent on their behalf to even offer a large movie in movie theaters now. Like, the option should be video on demand or wait until next year.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't, and maybe this is happening. I just haven't checked on it to see because it's out of my price range. But I don't understand why theaters aren't just renting themselves out to small groups.
Yeah.
Hey, you can have a group.
AMC was for a while, right?
Were they?
It was like
Okay.
99. It was like it was $89 for up to 20 friends, right?
Yeah.
And you just rent out the whole theater, and of course, I didn't save AMC, but it's
Yeah.
I mean,
It would have to be more than that
yeah,
because $89 is less than it would cost for 20 people to go to the movies. So
yeah, that's why they were hoping it would bring people in.
yeah.
And they had a list of movies you could choose from, right? It was ones they had, and they're all older movies. But I mean, we used to go every year to Cine Capri to watch Star Wars, right? But now you can go rent out entire Deluxe Theater for 20 of your friends to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you also have to think that people, it's the coronavirus. Which 20 friends do you trust to not have?
That's true. That's true.
At most, maybe 8. And even then, it's like, is that really worth the price at that point?
Yeah, show up with your negative test results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bring your papers with you. All right, Doug. What's the next DC?
Oh
news?
yeah, we still a couple more DC things here. Amber Heard is officially coming back for Aquaman 2, despite a Change.org petition to replace her nearing 1 million signatures. It's 1 million Johnny Depp fans right there.
I was going to say, I'm like 1 million signatures. I've never seen a Change.org with 1 million signatures on it before, and one for hate. That's man. God bless America.
It unites us all.
I don't like Amber Heard either. I'm on a Johnny Depp side, but I'm like, wow, 1 million people going out of their way to.
And
the whole situation, I don't get.
I don't know
I'm
about
not on
her.
anyone's side, but
Yeah, I don't. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
So whatever, and I don't care about her one way or the other.
Yeah,
She was fine in the role she was in, so I'm glad she's coming back. I hate when you just recast something for
right.
no particular reason other than nobody likes her anymore. Nobody likes this actress for some reason or other.
Oh.
So I don't care.
He's abusing poor Johnny.
All right. Well.
All right, Doug. Here's your favorite part right here.
Yeah.
This
well,
next
hey, if this brought Henry Cavill and Batman, bringing
Ben
Affleck back. If this brought them back and kept them in the DC universe and pulled it back together, I'd be all for this. So, as we predicted, Zack Snyder has admitted to having a sequel to his Justice League written and future plans for Darkseid. Will we ever see these? No word, but you can bet all eyes will be on how well Snyder's Justice League performs to see if it's, if it gets the crowds, if it gets people re-engaged with that.
If people are super excited about it,
if it also,
knows?
Yeah, if people are super excited about it and it maybe starts the tone moving to a less dark, emo tone, then, hey, I might be, and you got Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck to come back for their roles, then I'd be all for, hey, let's keep a Justice League tight stories and let the other things float around wherever they are.
Would it be worth HBO Max then?
just to see Snyder's Justice League.
I was like,
I guess if people came back and said it was awesome and that it was amazing, because at that point you've started building up. Okay, there's Green Lantern. Okay, there's the Snyder's Justice League that everybody says is cool. Maybe Wonder Woman. At that point, then
we got Titans.
Be worth at least checking it out.
Yeah, we'll see.
You don't think DC is going to put their foot down and be like, no, we made our decision. The only reason you're getting this is because we kind of like you.
Probably not. Well, it depends. They'll follow the money.
If they had a successful movie, because
they still haven't
franchise,
haven't come up with a cohesive plan for addressing DC movies. It's been still throw things at a dartboard and see what happens.
Yeah, and the best thing they have, right? The only few moneymakers they have controversies with Aquaman and Wonder Woman. They look at like throwing away all the money on it. They're like, all right, just get some subscribers, throw it out there.
But by going with a Justice League 2, they would essentially be saying, yeah, we were wrong.
Yeah,
right.
They would,
and I don't know if they would admit that. What do you?
Yeah, well, you just fire the person who made that decision and said they were wrong.
They were wrong. All right, I have an addendum to this story, Doug. He'll make it even sweeter for you here. All right. So Zack Snyder, in that same interview, confirmed Jared Leto's Joker will be in the Justice League, but a much more, quote, road-weary Joker than we last seen him.
That just makes even less sense.
I know it's your
said
favorite.
That about number 2 or about the Snyder Cut?
About the Snyder Cut. He's going to be.
Really?
It's going to be Jared Leto's Joker is going to be in the Snyder. We're getting the Injustice League, or the we're getting the bad guy team up here, right? We already got Deathstroke. We're going to have Lex Luthor. We're going to have Joker.
I forgot about that Jared
Legion of Doom
Joker on there, so I'm even less inclined to watch this.
Why a roller coaster of emotions about this.
Somebody would have to tell me that, hey, the real Joker comes and kills Jared Leto's Joker.
He's a little more dark and road weary, Doug. He's not.
What a move to
my gosh.
That. Why was that not just like a surprise? Like, people could have gone into the movie and be like, oh, and then decided for themselves that was something they wanted. But they went out and said it.
They went out and said it.
Something about that, they're proud about it. And I don't understand that thought process.
Yes, I don't understand that.
HBO Max right then and there, though, if I hadn't been warned ahead of time.
By announcing that they're proud of it, and I just don't understand. That is awesome. Yeah, I agree, Charlie Tango. DC dumpster fire. That is pretty much. Isn't that standard? How we're talking about DC, the DCFU.
Yeah.
Is it the DCFU anymore? If it's on HBO Max.
No.
Is it all part of that?
I don't know.
Who knows? All right. I guess what time it is, guys.
What time is it?
Yeah, it's Wii World time, guys.
In case you didn't know. Alrighty. So first note is Pokemon Journey has a new arc coming up focused on Mewtwo, but not just any Mewtwo, but the same one from the first movie, including the original voice actor, Masachika Ichimura.
Nice.
So
I didn't realize that they were that the individual Pokemon were, I guess, individuals other than like the Pikachu, that Ash's Pikachu that would refuse to evolve. I knew that one, but other than that, I didn't realize that they were others that were specific, like this Mewtwo. I don't know.
I don't think there is any other Mewtwo beyond the Mewtwo that was created because he was man-made. So I don't think that he's duplicated or anything like that. So I think there can only be Mewtwo as he was from the original. Unless they decided to do some crazy like alternate universe, which would be very odd for them to do.
All right. Fair enough.
So this bit of news, I didn't really understand a whole lot until Mike explained to me, and then I found out why I didn't have any knowledge of it. So SD Gundam is making a second attempt to make it in the States, despite a failed launch on Toonami some years ago. Where the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise is best known for its political dramas and thought-provoking ideas, the SD franchise in the world of Gundam chooses to instead focus on the more outlandish and cartoony. Translated in Japan as Super Deformed, the series is known for its strange zombie story backdrop. It was a departure from the original that the fans didn't connect with. And now the second series in the SD universe is called SD Gundam World Heroes, and it looks to be just as strange as the first series. Are Western viewers ready this time? No. The answer is no.
Yeah, if you look at the...
I had a picture.
I know. I should have got a picture for this.
They're like toys. They look like toys.
The
eyes are huge. They're like miniaturized and like chibi almost. Like if you could chibi a mech suit, which why?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand, because you hear Gundam, right? Mm-hmm. And this looks nothing like what you think of when you think of Gundam. Let me see if I can find a picture of this, because I was like, all right, I first heard about this. I'm like, Gundam? Why is Gundam failing? Right? How's that kind of... Gundam is awesome. But, this is... And I was about to say, it looks like a cartoon. I mean, it's all a cartoon, but it's that's the difference. Right? You're like, oh. Let's see here. Let me pull it up here. Oh, no, that didn't work. Let's see here. All right, let me share this. See what it looks like. All right, so it does look weird. It does not look like Gundam. It looks like a little kid's Gundam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Like, so I was kind of explaining to Mike that, and he agrees. The old Gundam was, it was all about political commentary, and it was very cool and probably for, teenager range, late teenager range. So something like that probably would do well on Toonami, because Toonami is focused towards young adult genres. But this looks and sounds to be something that should be showed on like Disney or like Cartoon Network or something, and it probably wouldn't do too bad on there if they would go that route. But it seems very odd that they're trying to make something that looks and feels very childish for adults. Not that adults can't enjoy those things, it's just typically they don't, you know?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You know what? I don't know. I wouldn't say I'd give it a chance, but I'm saying I'd be more inclined to give it a chance, I guess, if it wasn't Gundam, right? If I didn't hear,
Right, yeah.
because I hear Gundam, and I'm thinking Mobile Suit Gundam, right?
Right.
And which was awesome. And then I look at this, and I'm like, what is this? This is not that. Hey, Charlie Tango says there's a new Ghibli film coming.
I couldn't find anything on it. I looked and saw that there's something called How Do You Live? But the last we got any news on that was in May 2020. And basically, Hayao Miyazaki was just flirting with the idea.
It's all about selling merch. Selling those little chibi merch Gundam suits. All right. Well, of course, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Now it's time to transition over to our other section, our small stories, or geek bites. Nerd nuggets, guys.
Nerd nuggets.
Nerd nuggets. Great with dipping sauce.
But what kind?
Whatever you want.
Charlie Tango says Goro's directing. He's going to tweet us the link. So we'll check it out. All right. Guys, for our first story in our Nerd Nuggets today, Jason Blum wants to Blumhouse to resurrect the failed Dark Universe from Universal Pictures. Now, we all remember, or maybe not, the biggest flop of a new franchise, the Dark Universe.
Yeah.
They built this entire universe. They had casting announcements for other movies planned before the first movie in the series ever came out. Right? They're banking everything on the Mummy movie with that god awful Mummy movie. They're like, we're gonna redo the Universal monsters, right? It's gonna be the Dark Universe, all the way interconnected. They even cast Javier Bardem as Frankenstein, I believe. They had wasn't Johnny Depp supposed to be the Invisible Man? They had all these big actors. Right?
Yeah.
In these parts, they announced all these movies, and then the first movie, they even had the logo, the Dark Universe logo, and it flopped. But Jason Blum wants to resurrect it, right? He's already had a hit with their take on the Invisible Man, Blumhouse's Invisible Man series or movie, and now they're producing their take on the Wolfman, starring Ryan Gosling, right? So if it's a success, he wants to make a bid to bring the whole Dark Universe franchise back. Right?
Right.
Which I think these Universal Monster movies would do better on a smaller scale. Like Blumhouse does, I mean, they've hit and miss stuff, but what they do correct is horror, right? Mm-hmm. And they do it on a lower budget. So they can produce, big results on a low budget. Well, not low, but lower budget, right?
Yeah.
So if anyone's going to resurrect it, because I mean, you have to, the kind of money they were throwing at that Dark Universe movie and the talent, they'd have to have every one of them be a major hit.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it could work, but I'm a big Universal Monster fan, right? For back in the day, since I was a kid. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Sounds like it could be exciting. It's just a question of whether they actually act on it or if they decide to just leave it be.
Exactly. All right, Doug. What's next?
All right. Disney Plus has hit 73 million paid subscribers this year, far surpassing its projected 53 million 5-year plan.
Yeah.
So, because we just hit the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Was a couple days ago, I think. So that it has firmly planted Disney Plus in the number 2 spot behind Netflix, despite its current lack of original programming. And it would be better to say its lack of big budget original programming, because it's got a lot of documentary type stuff on it. It's original programming that I don't know if that's a big draw for a lot of people, but I've really enjoyed all of the stuff that's Imagineering and the the Disney Gallery for The Mandalorian. They have a bunch of stuff like the One Day in Disney, where they're little like 6-minute vignettes about somebody who works at the parks or someplace in the Disney company. They've done like news anchors, ESPN, personalities, people who decorate the parks. They did a scuba diver who does repairs on, various underwater rides. So those were really cool. There's lots of cool little things like that. Yeah. Plus you've got Disney's library, plus you've got Pixar's library, plus you've got Marvel and Star Wars. So it's got a lot to offer. It just hasn't done the Netflix shotgun new series type, new content type stuff.
Yeah.
So I think its big draw is that it has such a iconic catalog that,
to be honest with you, I'm surprised it's number 2. I'm not surprised in a fast growth. I mean, maybe to this extent, right? Like surpassing their 5-year plan in year 1. I mean, clearly the pandemic helped that out, but to that extent, that's quite a bit, right? But yeah, number 2. If you'd have told me all this, Disney was going to be number 2.
Who's the competition past Netflix? Who is the only other one who would have even a chance to be in the? And I'm assuming they're number 3. I don't know.
Amazon's starting to step up with some original programming and stuff, but I mean, Amazon almost doesn't count because if you have it, it's usually for the shipping.
You have it because you have Prime. You don't have the Amazon streaming services. I agree. It doesn't really count. It's like that's that would be like my Discover streaming service because I have a Discover card. I get to watch their streaming content.
All right.
But yeah, so anyways.
Number 2.
Oh yeah, there's a second point to this. This is pretty much the one and only bright spot for Disney, however, this year, as it will lose money for the first time in 40 years. It's expected to lose $2.4 billion this year due to COVID-19 impact.
Yeah.
Because it's still, many of its parks are operating at 25% capacity. So
not Disneyland.
Disneyland's not operating at all, except for Downtown Disney. Some of the international parks have closed back down. So yeah, they're kind of struggling there.
Yeah.
And then obviously their big money makers are in the theater world is Star Wars and Marvel and Pixar, and none of them have really done anything of note.
Yeah. First time in 40 years they're not making money. Of course, when they don't make it, that's a $2.4 billion.
Yeah.
Holy. All right. All right, Disney. But kudos on the streaming service, though. All right, Kirsten.
All right. So experts are calling PlayStation 5 the winner over the Xbox Series X, at least during the launch. Here's a few factors as to why. Due to COVID shutdown, titles like Halo Infinite and Fable 4 have been pushed, and Xbox no longer has tentpole games at launch, where Sony has Miles Morales, one of the most anticipated titles. Also, Xbox Series X can't do 4K, which is sad. And Xbox isn't focusing on exclusives like PlayStation is, as they wanted the Netflix of gaming, giving Sony an edge over here. Sony is set up to support VR if it takes off in the future.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm still not convinced VR's the way of the future. Right, that's still I think is a gamble for me. But if it is, the PlayStation set up for it. I don't know, Kirsten. What do you think of this? Do you think everything you've heard is it PlayStation 5 over Xbox this time? And you think these factors are correct?
I really haven't heard a whole lot one way or another. I have a lot of friends that said, yeah, I'll get that probably next year when it's not as expensive and there's more titles out for both of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know too many who are willing to go out and get it ASAP. Just people were really excited for the stuff that was mentioned for PlayStation 5. And just by titles alone, I think PlayStation 5 is going to be the winner. But all these additional points, I feel like it just adds to the point that Xbox didn't do enough to make this product up to par for what gamers want. And that being said, I think that VR is the future. I know more and more people, especially streamers, who are saving up to purchase VR and do VR games. So I think especially so long as Twitch is around, VR is going to be taking off more and more. So the fact that they can support it and they have the ability to stream from PlayStation, at least they have for PlayStation 4, I think that will be huge.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I'm a PC gamer myself, so I don't really get into the consoles that much. All that being said, we do have a PlayStation in the house, and usually have had a PlayStation in the house. Usually had a Nintendo, whatever the latest one is, in the house. But we've had Xbox before, so I'm not really, I think, I don't know. The people that are like the super dedicated ones, the ones that like I got to get it when it comes out first, right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
And for me, there's never enough titles really to justify it. I don't think I've ever bought a console like right when
upon
it came
launch.
out. Yeah, I don't think I ever have. So
I think the only thing I ever did that for was the Nintendo 3DS. And that was like the very first one because I was like, oh my God, I could play dogs in 3D because they had like a dog game that came with it.
Yeah.
I used my own allowance for it, and that's about it. Like everything else, I wait until it's priced less because it's not worth it. Like, there's no reason to get it when it's $500. Wait until it's $300 when you buy it used. Like, I don't know.
I think I got a Super Nintendo that Christmas it came out. I think I got that as a present.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember, and I think it had like F5 racing game or whatever that came with it because Star Fox wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
Which was, but yeah, I think that's the closest I've come to actually just getting it immediately. But yeah. All right, so we have a.
This is a weird story.
This is a weird story. Okay. Charlie Tango says he heard Miles Morales was short, only like 8 hours of gameplay to beat. I've heard that too, but this game was like, I don't know. People are super excited about that, even more so than like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and some of the other ones like Miles Morales, even over the SpiderMan game. This is kind of like an offshoot from, right? Mm-hmm. But did you hear, just a side note here, did you hear that they kind of erased all mentions of the Square Enix's Avengers game from the Spider-Man games because of how poorly Avengers was received? Like, Square Enix has lost a ton of money on Avengers. I was like, holy, how do you not make money? It's got
I
really.
heard it wasn't a good game. Like the models were terrible, the gameplay was terrible. Like there was nothing memorable about it. Not worth the money.
Yep. It was the character designs were awful. I didn't tell you like that, but I was like, oh well, sad. How do you mess up an Avengers game? That's what I want to know.
Well, they did it.
They did. They did it. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so here's a weird story, guys, for you. A modern-day reboot for the Scorpion King is in the works at Universal with Dwayne Johnson. When did Dwayne Johnson drop The Rock from his name? Forget it. I'm going to put it in. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is producing it. But the weird part is that, because this is the first movie he ever did, right? This is his very first role. I mean, it was an awful role, but awful CGI, but... yeah.
It was a beautiful movie.
He was in The Mummy.
The Mummy, yeah.
That was his first movie as the Scorpion King.
And then the spin-off.
He was in The Scorpion King, which didn't involve him being a scorpion at all. So it was like...
I preferred him in The Mummy, even with the crappy CGI, than I did him in his own. But anyway... The weird part is he's not going to reprise his role as Matthias, the Scorpion King. Mm. He's not going to be the Scorpion King, which I don't know how I feel about that. Why do it?
Yeah.
I mean, really. Here's the thing. They don't have it's a guilty pleasure. I gotta be honest with you. We went and saw Doug. We went and saw the Scorpion King.
Yeah.
You know,
here's the thing: it is essentially a reskinned Conan.
Yeah,
he might as well have just called him Conan.
Yeah, because he didn't really have a whole lot to do with the Scorpion.
Yeah, it was that whole the Scorpion thing he becomes, the Scorpion King he becomes in the Mummy movies had no relation to his character or any of the action in the movie.
Yeah,
the Scorpion King.
It's gonna be weird. Is there gonna be no Michael Clark Duncan? Right, he's not with us anymore.
Yeah,
and The Rock's not playing the Scorpion King.
Have The Rock take his place, be Michael Clark Duncan's character.
Swap,
because he was like that mentor kind of guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So you take a cameo appearance as this, yeah. Anyways, no, Michael Clark Duncan was the bad guy, wasn't he?
No,
I don't remember.
No, he wasn't. He was his partner.
Because he had I think that wasn't there a Native American who was his sidekick?
wait, this is how much we love. Yeah,
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Clearly, it was a good movie because we remember it completely.
I can't remember the last time I.
Charlie Tango loved the Scorpion King. Yeah. Don't blame you. I get it. I understand. But it still didn't make it a good movie. All right, Doug, what do we got left?
Chris Pratt joins the cast of Thor: Love and Thunder as Star-Lord. Which, yeah, that tells me that Thor: Love and Thunder. Well, we already knew this. I think is coming out before the
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. So this will give us a little, why is Thor not with the Guardians? So we'll get that a little bit more of their interactions.
Yeah. Because they got to address it because at the end games they went off together, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so they have to
address really, and I just want to see how Chris Pratt, as Star-Lord, reacts to Thor when Thor's in shape. Oh, actually, no, he was in shape.
He was in shape when they first met. Yeah, remember that was why he was.
So, when he gets back to that and he's like, "Oh, the only thing I had was you were fat."
Poor Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the Scorpion King, Charlie Tango said you get John Cena to play him.
Oh my
god. Oh my goodness.
That's
John Cena. I gotta be honest with you. As much as I crap on DC, I'm a little excited about this Peacemaker series, right, with John Cena. So I'm a little excited. We'll see. We'll see how the character goes. I mean, if they say his character is awesome in the Suicide Squad, so once we see that, and then we'll see this Peacemaker series spinoff, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
James Gunn's involved, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
it'll be funny, at least.
Yep. All right, guys. That's going to about do it for us this week. Thank you all for tuning in. This is the Grizzled Geek Podcast, the Arizona's premier geek podcast on Friday nights.
Yeah, throwing that qualification there real quick.
That's right. I'm going to give a shout out to all you listeners out there checking us out on Spotify and Deezer and wherever else you get your quality podcasts, because this is a quality podcast. We really appreciate you guys, especially with you 13 to 15 dudes in Belgium that listen to us every week. Shout out to you guys. Then we've also had quite a bit of people checking us out on YouTube recently. We've had a surge in subscribers on YouTube. We've had a surge in views on YouTube. And just so you guys know, we're on track at the beginning of the year to hit 1 million views by the end of this year. However, being 2020, our plans got derailed. Not as bad as Disney's plans got derailed, but they got derailed a little bit here. So we're on track. If things stay on track to where we're at, we're going to hit 1 million views around March. If they pick up, which they might, because Ruby is Ruby fans out there. Coming out, we're going to be our Ruby is going to come out Saturday on Patreon, and then on Tuesday will be out for YouTube for you guys. So we already watched the first episode. We're going to watch the new episode this week, and then we're back on track, guys. So make sure to check that out. So hey, it might bump that up a little bit here. So
yeah.
But it's not going to be this year.
Well.
But it'll be early into next year, guys, and we'll have a special show where we celebrate our 1 million views. So we are super excited about that, guys. We're super excited to invite all you new listeners out there to us. And we appreciate all the support of our old listeners, especially all you patrons out there. We know it's been a rough year for you guys, and those of you that stuck with us, we really, man, telling you what, it kept me going through these dark times. I really open up the Patreon page and realize people like us. There's some people that like us enough to give us money, and that's awesome. That's more than my wife likes me, because she doesn't. She won't give me money, so that's a lot, guys. So if you want to be like these guys and support us, there's several things you can do. You don't have to be a patron, but you can. Doug, tell them how they can support us.
Well, we just mentioned Patreon, but we also have a Teespring store where. If you saw our thumbnail or below the thing here, we got some of our shirts there. Mike created some masks as well, some new podcast shirts, so check those out.
People like the masks.
Oh, yeah? All right, cool. The easiest way you can support us, though, especially coming up into the holiday season, is click that Amazon affiliate link. Do your Amazon shopping through that within 24 hours. It doesn't have to be what this link goes to. It's whatever you buy after clicking that link. We get a small kickback. Doesn't cost you anything extra. You know you're going to shop through Amazon anyways, so just help us out.
Might as well.
Thanks, guys. And try to think you're right. Ruby Tuesdays are back, baby. Woo! All right, guys. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Man, we're it. Yeah, we're going to get you through your Friday nights. You know, we're here for you. And we'll be back next Friday night to do it all over again. So we'll see you then. Until next time, guys. Bye.